Welcome. In this video, we'll be looking at an overview of operators plus an overview of groups. Groups are what operators, products, and accounts all reside in. It is a concept found throughout Bepoz, and it is an important concept to understand prior to looking at operators or products or accounts. Okay, let's dive straight into the operator list. Log into Bepoz, and on the left, under the maintenance menu, you see operator list. Clicking on this shows us the operator list on the screen. You'll see down the left we have the operator groups, and on the right we have the operators that are within the highlighted group on the left. Across the top of the operator list you see we have a toolbar. Most lists and reports that you open up within back office will have a toolbar, and many of the options within the toolbar will be the same. In this one, you'll see the first option is Exit Operator List. As usual, the first option is normally Exit. Secondly, we can print list. This will print the currently displayed list. If I click on it, you'll see that I get the printout that I can see on the screen and then optionally later print it. Next, I can export the list. Next, I can save the report. This is covered in the reporting videos. The next option is Hide Headers, which simply hides any settings at the top of the screen to give me more screen real estate for the list. The next option allows me to add a new operator. This is covered in another video in this series. After this, we have Edit Operator. There are typically two ways of editing anything within Bepoz. If I go to an operator, I can typically double click, and that will bring up the edit screen for the item, be it operator, product, or account. Alternatively, I can simply highlight the item that I wish to edit and then click on the Edit Operator option. Either way, I get to the edit screen and there is no difference between the two methods. Okay, let's go back to the base operator group, and now we'll talk about the lower part of the screen. Let's start by talking about the operator groups. The operator groups on the left you'll see are ordered in what we call a tree structure, meaning that it starts with one group at the top and then it builds outwards from there. Underneath the main group you can have any number of subgroups. Then in turn these subgroups can have any number of subgroups underneath it, and this can go on as far as you wish. If we look at the product tree, you'll see a better example of this. If I open up the product tree, you'll see that the product tree extends down quite a long way. We have the base product group at the top, and then the beverages group, and underneath the beverages group there are numerous groups, one being beer, cocktail, non-alcoholic, etc. And then under the beer there is many groups under that. This shows how these tree structures can build up quite large. Let's go back to the operator tree, which is a much simpler example of the tree. Firstly, you'll see underneath here we have a support staff group. And then under that there is a staff group, and the staff group have a few subgroups underneath it. An important concept is that a group can only either have subgroups or it can have items within that group, the items being operators, products, or accounts. So let's have a look at this. If I highlight the support staff group, you'll see on the right there are two operators. Whereas if I highlight the staff group, you'll see that there are subgroups under it. The subgroups being on the left, and on the right the groups are shown and highlighted in grey. This indicates to me that these aren't operators, these are actually groups. Once I go down to level one more time to the managers group, you'll see now on the right hand side I have my operators. So just remember that a group can only have subgroups or it can have operators, not both. Now we may wish to add more groups. At this stage I cannot add a group under the managers group because it has operators in it. Likewise for the support staff group or any of these other bottom level groups, I cannot add more groups. I can, however, add another group under the staff group. If I wish to add a group at this point, I use the right mouse button, click it once, and you'll see that I have three settings in here. I can select to edit the group staff, I can add a group under staff, or I can set use parent settings to on. We'll come back to that one in another video. What we wish to do here is add a group under staff. Once I select this, it will ask me which operator or group to copy this group from. Anytime we add something in Bepoz, we are always prompted to copy an existing item. This gives us all the settings that are already set up for the copied item. If I highlight any one of these groups that I wish to use and I select it, it gives me the new operator group dialog box. In here, all I simply need to do is type in a name. And once I click the OK button, you'll see that now on the left, I have my new group added called Extra Staff. If I highlight this group, now I have the option of adding extra groups underneath this, or I can add operators into the group. This is how the groups are structured within Bepoz. This is the same for operators, products, and accounts. Other things you may wish to do on a group may include either moving the group or deleting the group. We'll have a quick look at these. Firstly, to move a group, we simply double click on the group to edit it, and at the top you can see we can select the group that it belongs to. In this case, the only two choices I have is either the staff group it's currently in or the base operator group. This is because the groups that hold operators within them cannot hold a subgroup as well. So the only two available groups are these two. Lastly, what you may wish to do is remove a group altogether. Remember, you should only remove a group that doesn't have operators in it. But to remove a group, you turn it on inactive. Once we do this, you'll see that it no longer exists in the group tree on the left. Okay, there are three ways I can show the operators. You see there is full tree, which is what's being displayed at the moment. I can select list only, which just shows me the bottom level group, or I can hide the list on the left and it just shows me all the operators in one long list. But let's go back to full tree. Okay, looking at the full tree, you'll see that under the base operator group, there are two main groups. There's one called support staff and another one called staff. Below the staff, we show the managers, operators, store supervisors, and temps. These groups will hold the operators for each of your staff within your organization. You'll see that they are organized by their role within your organization. This role also mirrors their privileges. This means that you can actually set the privileges by group. Then, by simply moving an operator between the groups will automatically change the privileges of that operator. This is optional, however, and each individual operator can be set to either inherit the group's privileges or use a customized set of privileges for themselves. Let's see this in action and let's see how we use it. If here we click on the managers group, you'll see that these are all the managers set up within the system. If I double click on one of these managers, you'll see that on the screen in the lower half, it's all grayed out and the use group settings flag is turned on. The flags that are actually shown in grey reflect the privileges for this group. These are the privileges set up for the group. You'll see that you are unable to change these privileges at this operator level. If, however, I turn off the use group settings flag, then I'm able to change individual privileges for this operator. At this point, I'll cancel this, and now we'll go back to the group and we'll see how we can set the group up. You can see that this group looks just like an operator. It has all the same privileges that I can configure for this whole group. Simply by changing any one of these privileges and hit the OK button, all the operators within this group that have the use group settings flag turned on will immediately use those new privileges that are set. If I go to the operator group, you can see that I can pre-configure all the privileges that I wish to have for all my operators. Likewise, if I go to the supervisors or the store supervisors, and they can have a different set of privileges. Okay, so now we see that we can have as many groups as we wish, and each of these groups can have a customized set of privileges reflecting exactly how we wish the operators within those groups to be able to access the system. Now, let's go into one of these store supervisors and let's change them from being a store supervisor to a manager. This might be because one of the managers is on holidays for a short period. Simply by changing the operator group to managers and clicking the OK button, not only has that operator moved into the managers group, but now whenever they're using the back office or the till, they will have the privileges of a manager. This saves you from having to remember all the individual privileges that you wish to give your managers. It also prevents any sort of security breach that they may have a privilege that you wish them not to have. And remember that you can always customize each individual operator to have their own privileges. If I go back into this operator that I've moved up into the managers group, I can easily turn off the use group settings. At this point, the privileges still reflect exactly what the group's privileges are, but now I can just change one privilege and hit the OK button, and now I've customized that operator to have the exact privileges that I wish them to have. But remember, if you do this, any other changes to the managers group will have no impact on that operator within the group. Okay, let's quickly look at the privileges of an operator. When we edit an operator, you'll see that the flags are very self-explanatory. However, for a further description of each of the flags, simply roll the mouse over the top of the flag and you will see a further description of exactly what this flag will affect. Okay, lastly, just looking at the operator groups again, earlier we mentioned we have a support staff group. This is important as it enables your Bepoz support people to access the system to do any sort of support that you may require. It is important not to delete these or change the passwords. Below this, we have a staff group, followed by subgroups of the managers, operators, store groups, etc. This hierarchy enables us to group all your staff together. If I click on the staff, I can then select the sub-operators and it will list all your staff in one long list. The other use for this staff group is if we go into the reports, I'll go to sales reports, I'll go to operator summaries. What this means is if I do a report, I can simply click on the staff group and it will show me all the groups below there. Or I could click on each individual group and get the operators within that group. In this video, we have covered the operator lists, the groups, and how the privileges will work within those groups. In another video in this series, we covered detailed how to create an operator by copying another operator.